We've been a leader in banking for more than 100 years. You'll find us here, at home, on your phone, and everywhere you go. Renaissance Bank. Understanding you. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Sponsored by Renaissance Bank.
Good morning and welcome to Daily Journal Newsbreak for Wednesday, April 4th. I'm your host, Chris Kiefer, and we're going to take a look at the top news and sports stories from Northeast Mississippi. But first, let's start with your weather forecast. Today we're looking at partly cloudy skies with a high of 59 and a low of 35. It's a 0% chance of rain. Looking ahead at your 3-day outlook. Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 66 and a low of 51. Friday, 60% chance of rain, the high is 68 and the low is down to 39. And on Saturday, 60% chance of rain and colder, the high is 48 and the low is at 33. Let's take a look now at today's top headlines. Jason Shelton has announced his intent to seek a U.S. Senate seat formerly held by Thad Cochran. After hinting at a run last week, the Tupelo mayor officially declared his intentions on Tuesday morning. Shelton becomes the fourth declared candidate in the special election to replace Cochran, who retired from his seat early due to health problems. Former Agriculture and Commerce Secretary Cindy Hyde-Smith was appointed by Governor Phil Bryant to fill Cochran's seat on an interim basis. She will run in the November 6th special election to complete Cochran's term. State Senator Chris McDaniel also intends to enter the special election after nearly unseating Cochran in 2014. Hyde-Smith and McDaniel are both Republicans. Shelton joins Mike Espy as the second Democrat in the race. Espy is a former congressman from the Delta and a one-time U.S. Agriculture Secretary. Also on Tuesday, Governor Bryant announced that April 24th is the qualifying deadline for candidates in the election. 50 years after the assassination of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., Clara Esther still struggles to come to terms with what she saw. King was in Memphis to support a sanitation worker strike. Esther was a college student who had been marching alongside the strikers as they sought better pay and working conditions. She and some friends had gone to the Lorraine Motel for a catfish dinner when she saw King chatting happily near where she stood. Then Esther heard the shot. It was 6:01 p.m. on April 4th, 1968. 50 years later, Esther told the Associated Press she still has trouble talking about the months that followed. Others who were there that night were changed in other ways. College student John Billings was working as a surgical assistant on the night shift when doctors ordered him to find someone in charge and inform them that Dr. King had died. He later became a private investigator who worked to help solve the murder. King aide Andrew Young and the Reverend Jesse Jackson stood near King when he was shot. Young became a congressman, ambassador to the United Nations, and Atlanta's mayor. Jackson ran for president twice and then stood in Grant Park in Chicago with tears streaming down his face after a black man was elected president in 2008. Tupelo resident Chris Jones is hoping to assist women from all walks of life through a newly formed nonprofit organization called Sister SOAR. The acronym stands for Success Over Adversity Redeemed. The organization will host its first public event next Saturday to bring women from various life stages together to learn from each other. It was created with the goal of helping women transition to a better life through job readiness and life skills. The 2018 Empowerment Luncheon will take place on April 14th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Summit Center in Tupelo. It will feature motivational speaker Deanna Benson. Benson is the pastor and co-founder of the University Life Church in Oxford and founder of the Beyond the Break life coaching series. Topics covered at the event will include coping skills, goal planning, and strategizing. Tickets to the event are $25. They can be purchased by visiting eventbrite.com, typing Soaring into Transition in the search bar, and choosing the first option. And in sports, both Lafayette and New Albany high schools have hired new basketball coaches. Brad Gray will lead the Commodores next season, while Scotty Shettles will take over at the helm for the Bulldogs. Gray has spent the last 3 seasons at Senatobia. He will replace retiring John Sherman. Gray had 46 wins and 39 losses at Senatobia, including a 21-9 record last season. Prior to that, he led New Albany for 7 seasons. He's also been a head coach at Lewisburg and Hickory Flat. Gray is familiar with the Lafayette program and said he plans to put an emphasis on pressure defense. Meanwhile, Shettles is well versed in New Albany basketball, having spent the last 3 seasons as an assistant for the Bulldogs. This is Shettles' second head coaching job. He led Kossuth from 2010 to 2015. He compiled a record of 58 wins and 82 losses, including an 18-14 record in his final year. He takes over for Robert Burdett, who was 35-47 in 3 seasons, including 10-17 this year. This is Shettle's second stint at New Albany. A standout player for West Union, he was a New Albany assistant for 2 years before leaving in 2009 to become an assistant at Kossuth. And that does it for Newsbreak on this Wednesday. Don't forget that this show is just one of the many online offerings, courtesy of the Daily Journal, that gets you news off the page and on the go. Listen to the Prep Rally podcast with hosts Brad Locke and Dalton Middleton discussing the latest in Northeast Mississippi high school sports. Look for a new episode this afternoon in Apple Podcast or Google Play or online at preprally.djournal.com. Any story discussed on Newsbreak can be found in your Daily Journal or online at djournal.com, where you can also find a new episode of Newsbreak each weekday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Kiefer. Have a great Wednesday.